Hello there and welcome to Beyond Business, the programme where we look at competition in the global economy. Bags full of cash and allegations of secrecy and money laundering. It sounds like the storyline of a mobster movie, but it's been reality at the Vatican Bank. The Institute for Religious Works, which is the official name, has tarnished the image of the Holy See. Pope Francis is making an effort to clean up the mess and dispel rumours of financial excess and scandal in the Vatican. To do that, he's replaced almost the entire board of the bank, but will it be enough to change things? Siobhan Silk has more.
In 2012, the VatiLeaks affair shook the Vatican with revelations of nepotism and corruption. The next year, a highly ranking Vatican official was arrested as he tried to smuggle 20 million euros in cash from Switzerland. At the same time, newly elected Pope Francis was declaring war on greed.
What's happening today? Well, if investments in banks and elsewhere drop a little, it's oh, what a tragedy, what can we do? But if people die of hunger, if they don't have anything to eat, if they're sick, then nothing gets through. That's the real crisis today.
Francis quickly found he had to concern himself not just with the spiritual needs of his flock, but with financial scandal in the Vatican. Investigative journalist Fabrizio Pinotti says it dates back to the papacy of John Paul II, who, according to Pinotti, established links with the controversial banker Roberto Calvi.
It is proved by judicial acts, which I had the chance to read and see and study for long years with the mafia. The mafia was doing money laundering with the Banco Ambrosiano, directed by Roberto Calvi, and through the Istituto di Opere di Religione, the Vatican Bank.
The Institute for the Works of Religion, headquartered in St. Peter's Square, has always operated in secrecy. In July 2012, the European Council criticised the bank for its failure to comply with rules to combat money laundering and the financing of terrorism. Benedict XVI and Francis promised to clean house. France 24 requested an interview with the bank but was turned down. Instead, we were provided with this document. In its 70 years, it's the first time the bank has published an annual report. There's no mention of the European Council accusations. If the bank would prefer to sweep them under the carpet, the author of a recent book on the transition from Benedict XVI to Francis is confident the current Pope will deal with the mess.
Pope Francis is a systematic man, a Jesuit who appreciates clarity. He wants to put an end to organizations that do no good. He wants to put an end to financing or illegal money transfers from the mafia. But it's a long process.
A long process, and it won't be an easy one, say Vatican experts.
Even if the Pope changes, the traditions don't. The tradition of silence and secrecy. They only answer to God. I don't think we're entering an era of absolute transparency.
When it comes to finance, it seems the Lord and the Vatican work in mysterious ways.
And for more now, we can turn to Robert Leblanc. He's the president of EDC, an organization of more than 2,000 Christian entrepreneurs and managers here in France. He's also the head of the French arm of the insurance group Aon. Welcome to the program. Now, a report from the European Council has said that the Vatican and the Vatican Bank has made progress when it comes to dealing with the money laundering issue, for instance. Do you think that Pope Francis will be able to clean up the bank's image?
Well, it's difficult to know for now what he will manage to do, but pretty sure he's doing all his best to do it. And it's a long process. It's not easy, of course, because it's a long story behind him. So now the job is very difficult, but I'm confident.
What do you think he can do? I mean, he's replaced almost all of the board of the Vatican Bank. What other steps do you think that Pope Francis needs to take?
Well, what you say is the main issue. I mean, replacing the people when you're not confident with some of them, you have to replace them. And I think it's already done. There are new people. Then it's a technical issue. I mean, it's quite difficult to understand the accounts of a bank. And I mean, you need audits, you need a lot of specialists. It's not just a question and say, well, I want transparency. Okay, you want it, but you need to do a big job. And I think it's in process today.
Now, even though progress has been made, my question is, why do you think that this problem arose in the first place. The Vatican is supposed to be a moral institution, after all. Why do you think that this happened?
Well, this happened, I would say that it was not transparent for two reasons, a good one and a bad one. The good one, and of course they raise it, is that in some countries, over the different centuries, and even today in some countries, church is not visible. And if you want to help the people, the Christian people in these countries, you cannot bring them what they need in full transparency. So this is the good reason. Having said that, the bad reason is that people are people, even in the church, even in the Vatican, and as soon as you're not fully transparent, you have bad behaviors around that, and of course it's something which needs to be cleaned up.
Now, we heard it suggested in the report, but do you think to a certain extent that the Church and the Vatican lost its way under John Paul II and Benedict XVI, the two preceding popes to Francis?
I don't know exactly how long was the problem. My view is that Benedict XVI already tried to clean up, and probably in a way his decision to resign was related to the fact it was too difficult for him to go on, and he thought that another pope would be in a better position to go on the job he had
thought
started.
The Vatican needed fresh blood.
Yeah. It's what I assume.
Do you think that the current Pope Francis has the support of other parts of the Vatican establishment as he tries to clean up the church? Do you think that indeed others are as keen as he is, or at least as he seems to be, when it comes to basically working against this image of financial excess and greed?
Well, greed is maybe, part of the problem, and greed was in financial markets. It's another issue at the same time. Mm-hmm. But to answer to your question, I think most of the people in the Vatican, I'm pretty sure, follow him in this approach, and I'm happy to see that he tries to solve the problem. Of course, some other people who are responsible of the current situation don't appreciate the change. Of course, some people don't appreciate the change. I just hope it's minority, and confident that the process will go on and that it will change the relationship between the Vatican as church and its own bank. And I think it's very important to keep the independence of the church. I mean, if you have this kind of power around you, I mean, people with strange links with other ones, you're not fully independent, and it's bad news for the mission you have.
Do you think it's a good thing that the Pope has come out so strongly against financial excesses since he came into office?
Yes, I think when he arrived, it was a problem all over the world. I mean, greed was pointed as one of the problems we had faced with the financial markets. I think it was a common view on the economics to say there's too much room for the finance. Having said that, finance is necessary, but some excesses were really a problem. So I think he was right to say that, and I mean, it's his job to say that. And for the people working the finance, they have to go on working, but having in mind that, well, they have to find the right limits of what they do.
That leads me into my next question. Now, you represent an organization that consists of Christian entrepreneurs and Christian managers. Do you think there is a Christian way to do business? What do you make of that?
I think the main difference is in the relationship you have with the people. I mean, having in mind that their dignity is something which cannot be negotiated, which is more important than the fact that you share or not their ideas, you agree or not on the project. I mean, having that in mind, change the relationship you have with them, and change also the way you develop the team, the way you develop the people around you. And my view is that if you do it the right way, and if you're a bit lucky, at the end of the day, even the shareholders can be in a better position. I mean, it's not, you don't have to have a different approach in front of your employees and the shareholders. I'm pretty sure if you have happy employees, well-trained, working in the right conditions, you can provide also your shareholders with the good results.
Now, I asked you before if the Vatican had lost its way. Do you think that global finance has lost its way? Do you think that global finance has lost the values that you just spoke about?
In a way, yes. I mean, it was mainly a question of limits. I mean, their job is necessary. we need finance. Finance is necessary for the economy. And even some complex approaches you have in the markets are necessary. But the point is that they went too far away and they did too much. It was too easy to earn money just because of what they could do between themselves. And so we need them to have in mind that they work for the other members of the economy. They are not alone in the strange island. They are in the world with everybody. So I think it was necessary for them to understand that. I think they have, the leaders have understood that they could not go on as before the crisis. And having said that, the other ones have to understand that they need finance also.
Now, what you're saying, it sounds very good, but do you think that your ideas and the ideas that you represent, are they widespread in the business community? There's been quite a lot of scandals in the past few years, banking scandals, financial scandals. How widespread do you think that your ideas actually are at this stage?
Well, I think there is some progress, and it's quite easy to point scandals in the finance area. But if you look at what happened in some industrial companies where bad decisions went to bankruptcy, and they have to find hundreds and thousands of people. All that is not very fair also. In every area of business, you have to have first good skills, then the engagement, then the ethical standards which are necessary in every business. So it's true for finance, of course, and it was quite easy to see that there were some excesses, and that was clear. But they are not the only ones who face problems.
Okay, Robert Leblanc, we have run out of time. Thank you very much indeed for speaking with us here at France 24.
Thank you.
And with that, we're also going to wrap up this edition of Beyond Business. Do stay with us here at France 24.